Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the City of Denton's Hickory Creek Road Phase 3 project. We want to thank everybody for joining us. Uh, we'll go ahead and start the meeting here. It looks like everybody's on just momentarily. We'll go through several things during the course of this, also our agenda. But this is a Hickory Creek Road Phase 3 project. Again, thank you for joining us. The participants on this agenda are myself, Dustin Draper, Project Manager, our Director of Capital Projects and City Engineer, Rebecca DeVinny, and Rachel Wood, our Deputy Director of Capital Projects. The agenda for tonight's meeting will follow this slide as our introductions, a few virtual housekeeping deals, our project scope, our current project timeline, how to stay informed about the projects, and at the end of the presentation, we will submit questions and feedback. Be at the end, you'll raise your hand and or post one in the chat box as well. Also, I'd like to say that also we have on the phone is David Gaines, our Assistant City Manager as well. That's on this meeting as well. Virtual committee meeting reminders are that all attendees are muted upon entry. All attendee videos are disabled. Our questions will be answered at the end of the presentation in order that they are received. You can write at the end of the presentation, please, you'll raise the raise hand that's shown here to select to speak. If you have a verbal question, for those questions will be answered at the end of the presentation. If you raise your hand, I'll call your name and then I'll unmute you, and then you can ask your question. This presentation, as of course, as always, will be available after the meeting online at www.cityofdenton.com/virtual-community-meetings. Now, after this, we always get this question all virtual town hall meetings. The video is usually posted to our website the following Tuesday after everything is after the meeting on Thursday night. Our current project scope for Hickory Creek 3 as shown is the construction of a 4-lane section of roadway from River Pass Drive to FM 1830. This will include a 4-lane bridge that will span the Hickory Creek corridor and remove the safety concerns from 90 Grove that is on Hickory Creek Road. The picture to the right is an excerpt from our prints that shows right here at River Pass as our scope of work will be straightening going over the railroad tracks and tying in back in right here to what is, it says Brush Creek, but on this side of the road is Hilltop. It's where we'll tie back in. And this is the segment shown right here is a section of the bridge that will be placed. This is our proposed scope visualization. It's essentially a video that takes us from River Pass, from what the current road looks like to what it will look like when it's finished. As you can see, it is a 4-lane road divided. This is taking us up right up to the railroad crossing, the Kansas City Railroad crossing of the road. Again, in front of us is what it currently looks like, and this is what the projected look will look like when we finish. As you can see right here, the bridge starts beginning right here, and this will be where the bridge begins for us for the Hickory Creek 3 project. As you can see, this is the original road that comes in and comes around, and this is the 90-degree curve up here where we do have addressed the safety concerns. All this is elevated bridgeway. You can see as we're going over the top of the road that this is the original road coming right through along on the right side of the screen that comes around and leaves the screen. The road up ahead of us is right here at Hilltop where we'll tie in. As you can see right about here is where the bridge starts ending and we go back to a ground level base roadway. You'll also see that it has bike pass, sidewalk on both sides of it as well as leading up to the bridge. And here's where we make the tie-in with what is originally Hilltop now on the road that cuts back to the south. And our final tie-in right here at Country Club Road. Our current project timeline is construction schedule. Construction is to begin in Q2, and that is a Q2 of the calendar year of 2022. We're expected for the project duration to be 2 years of construction. And currently, city staff is working on finalizing the design and the utility location so we can go to construction. The construction completion time is tentatively set, projected for Q2 of the calendar year 2024. Of course, as always, this timeline is the reflective estimated dates of the project and our tentative. We always ask for the most up-to-date information that you go to our website at citydenton.com and the Denton Street Hickory Creek 3 project. To stay informed on this project, the best way is the Hickory Creek Road Phase 3. I'm the project manager. You can always reach out to me via email, and this number right here at 940-349-7104 is my office phone. I answer calls. I do work in the field a lot. I always try to call same day or the following morning on calls. Please always feel free to send me an email or call me. You can check online at the project website, which is www.citydenton.com/Hickory Creek Road Phase 3. And you can sign up to be on the email to get any email alerts as the job progresses. Also, when you send an email to this email address that is the same, www.citydenton.com/Hickory Creek Road Phase 3, it also sends me an email that I can reply back to any questions that you may have as well. And that sounds pretty short and sweet. And I'd like to open the floor to any questions you have. As stated before, please raise your hand and we'll answer them in the order that they come in.
And Dusty, I know you mentioned this earlier, but there is also the option for participants if they want to type their questions in using the question and answer feature, and we can read those questions aloud.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Tim Ham, I just asked you to unmute. You should be able. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir.
What can I help you with?
Hey, will the existing Hickory Creek Road remain open during the construction?
That is a very good question. During the 2 years duration of the construction, there will be about a 4-month window that I can keep it open before I have to start building bridgeway over the existing road, and then I'll have to close it down. So for a good 2/3 of or actually more than 2/3 of the project, it will be completely closed due to safety concerns, because I can't be building an elevated roadway on top of the sections of road that are currently in place.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you, sir. Trish Highland. Can you hear me?
Yes. We were wondering what future plans are for west of Country Club Road, what's now known as Brush Creek.
Yes, ma'am. For that side, that I can speak. This one was more about the phase I'm talking about. As far as plans for the future of it, currently there's been work on a schematic, but that's as far as we went up to this point. We're still quite a few years away from being ready to even start on construction on another phase. We'd like to get the schematic, and then we'll host a town hall meeting with our schematic findings and take all that to council. And that works, but we're still a ways out on that. I know there was originally, I think it was a year and a half ago, they submitted some ideals to it, but nothing was finalized on that portion of the alignment.
And Dusty, if I could just add in, we do not have funding identified for Hickory Creek phases 4 and 5. We have had some very preliminary conversations with the Council of Governments as well as with the county. But as Dusty was saying, that's still going to be several years out because we have no guarantee on funding, and the city does not have phases 4 and 5 were not a part of the 2019 bond program. So we don't have a dedicated funding source identified for those segments yet.
Okay.
Lisa, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
I just typed my question in because
okay, all right, no problem.
But we joined the meeting like at 6:04 just due to technical difficulties on our end, but
no problem.
We missed the view. I don't know if you showed is phase 3 from like River Chase all the way across? Oh, I see it's popped up now.
Yeah, it's from River Chase all the way to 1830.
Okay, so we just hadn't seen that view yet. I see you've brought that back. Will there be a link then, like you said, where we can go back and view that?
Yes, ma'am. So
That's the Hickory Creek Road Phase 3 that you had?
Yes, ma'am. And they'll it'll post on the website next Tuesday morning, the recording of this. We will also at that time put this video that we shared. I didn't know if you caught it or not. The video of the proposed visualization, it will be posted as well.
Okay.
Dusty, if I may, we'll also email out a copy of the presentation and the video if we can get that sized into an email out to all of the folks that registered for this meeting as well.
Yes, ma'am. My next hand up was,
We could unmute.
Heidi.
Hey, Dusty.
Yes, ma'am.
We got a quick question.
Shoot, go ahead.
The old Hickory Creek, after you take off and the bridge goes flying over the wetlands area, what happens to the old road that will be left behind? Are they going to try to connect it back in, or are you going to completely close it down?
So that is a good question. When we're looking at this page right here that shows the bridge crossing, and actually this is that grade crossing, the road will stay in place, but it will be gated at both ends to only allow inside there. It would only be allowed to property owners that need access to the property. We have to do that in a sense because there was such a great safety concern there that we do want everybody to use a bridge. The road will remain, but it will not be open to the public. It will be gated. It will only be allowed access to the to landowners.
Okay, so it's converting into a private drive more than anything else.
Yes, ma'am. Essentially, it is. Hopefully that does answer your question, ma'am.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you. No problem. And now, Miss Emily. I'm trying to allow, I may ask for the assist from Stephanie Yates. For some reason, it's not letting me click on letting Emily speak.
It's saying that the version of Zoom that she's using is not the current one, so it's not going to allow her to speak. But Miss Emily, if you'd like, you can drop your question in the chat, and we should be able to see it from there.
Now, I was
Sorry
looking
about that.
and okay, now we'll go to Miss Jen.
Hi.
hear me? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
On the new intersection when it meets Country Club, is that going to be like, I'm assuming it's going to be a light and not a stop sign or anything like that? Because the current road is horrible now with all the traffic that we're getting down Hickory Creek going to Country Club. And of course, they're putting in all the new houses right off Country Club and Hickory Creek. So are we counting on that being controlled stoplights or stop signs, or has that been discussed?
At this time, yes, ma'am, it will. At this time, it will be controlled by a stop sign, and that's because the FM 1830 that is a TxDOT roadway, until the next phase is done, you won't see this section signalized, and that's due to the fact that honestly, we try to prevent and work with TxDOT closely. Until we have the other cross section deal, it doesn't warrant the light just yet. It might in future days, but at the moment it doesn't.
And I guess
Okay.
I'll just add to that. This is Rachel Wood with Capital Projects. We are having some preliminary conversations with TxDOT. They do have a future FM 1830 project. And so we have had some preliminary conversations. The issue is they have not yet identified funding for that project. We've issued a letter of support saying that we support that project, but until TxDOT identifies the funds, that project will not move forward.
Okay. That helps. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Do we have any other further questions before we go? We can go to the deal because I'm not seeing. Okay, here we go. Tommy? Can you hear us? Tommy Calvert? You're muted. You'll have to unmute on your end.
And Dusty, I might suggest, because it looks like some of the people with their hands raised also have typed in questions. So
Yes, ma'am.
they may have their question written. So you may want to just pivot over to the written questions for a little while.
Okay. Not a problem. That we can do. We have 13 currently. I'm an Everett. Thank you for what you do. Citizens safety top priority. To the first question, you're welcome. City didn't take citizen safety priority very seriously. It's one of our foremost concerns is making sure that we're keeping the citizens of Denton safe. Ms. Reed, my next question is from James Stokes. Will there be a traffic light at Country Club? That one was answered at the moment. No, like Rachel said, there is a future FM 1830. When TxDOT funds it, it will come later, but it's not right now. My next question is from Emily. Please show the map again. Not familiar with Hilltop Road. Okay, when we're looking at the slide that we're on right now at 1830, this is the original Hilltop Road comes right underneath this road overlay and comes right through here. It heads back to the south and it ties in right across from where Brush Creek is. And it's also shown really well here in the play deal. If I can fast forward it forward. Sorry, finger slipped there. I'll fast forward it to the point where we get a better look at Hilltop Road. So right here is where Country Club is. And Hilltop Road originally goes right through here and cuts right back through here at the moment. This is Hilltop Road to this section here, and this is also Hilltop Road going back to the south as well. And then the old Hickory Creek Road, of course, it will remain, but to resident only. It will be gated at both ends. Ms. Boudwell, Ms. Deborah, an alternate route to go through the Thistle Ridge or Teasley. During the construction of this, the Thistle Ridge is up to the north. We are investigating every option on alternative routes. While this is under construction during the time that the piece from River Pass to where the old road is at Country Club that will be closed down during construction, most people will ask everybody to go over. We're trying to use Ryan Road as an alternative route. Now, there is a future project at Ryan Road, and it will not be done. It won't start construction until Hickory Creek Road Phase 3 is completed. Will there be an in-person meeting for Mr. Calvert? Will there be an in-person meeting scheduled any time in the future? We're still hosting everything in this, and a nice way to say it, sir, in this post-COVID world. We will have some meetings we're going to have some future meetings coming up with the individual property owners for sure. As far as community meeting, as we get closer, it would depend on protocol at the moment on whether we would or we'd have an actual in-person meeting as opposed to a virtual. We've learned through COVID that we like the virtual because it allows us to reach more people, but we are moving back to a more normal style setting. Rachel can probably speak more to that than I can.
If we have had a few in-person meetings, we are slowly migrating back, and really it just depends on the preference of the neighborhood. So if there is a preference, particularly as we're gearing up for construction, we haven't yet selected the construction contractor. That'll be happening over the next 2 quarters. But as we're gearing up for construction, if it does seem like there is a desire to have an in-person meeting, we'll just need to find a location where we can ensure everyone is socially distanced. But we do have the option again for socially distanced in-person community meetings.
I did answer Lisa's Gellens already about the Hickory Creek Road and plan view. Right, okay, let me see. Just understand the raised roadway from the railroad tracks to Hilltop. The reason why, as you're looking at this map, the raised roadway is because most of this area right here, as shown where my cursor is in the floodplain. So the only way to make the road safe is to take it up out of the floodplain and bridge it across what is Hickory Creek bottom. which will address a lot of concerns. That is the reason for the bridge or the elevated roadway. Once you get to right here where Hilltop originally comes out and turns back, that's where we go back to a ground level roadway that's not elevated. And also the bridge is part of the elevation is to eliminate the dangers of the safety crossings at the track. Because anytime we can go over a railroad track, it prevents a lot of safety issues with the railroad as well. Will Hilltop be renovated to match new road? Was my next question. On Hilltop, our plans show we'll renovate this piece and we go all the way down to right here where the easement ties back and the roadway cuts off, which is roughly about 200 feet back to where it turns off. All that will get redone with this phase of the project. And then we have Hilltop Road and match new construction. Hilltop Road there will be a slight change. It's not a big change in elevation with this, but we will match existing grade here as well as this piece right here on that. You won't see a big grade change like if you're worried about these harvesters in here. This is at ground level, so you won't have like a ramp leading off to your house or anything like that. As far as a four-way stop, this will not right here on FM 1830 be a four-way stop. There'll be a stop sign on the side, much like it is currently now, but it will be a wider turn with a turn lane, so it does address a lot of the issues that we have with the other crossing that's further up on the existing Hickory Creek. This is a lot wider intersection, as Rachel said. As TxDOT approves their FM 1830 prints, this part of the carbon footprint of the project will change. As far as discontinue, we haven't have you discontinued meetings with property owners about your plans for acquiring property. No, we haven't at the moment. We're working on documents at the moment. We will continue. We had paused it for a little bit, but now we're slowly phasing back into negotiations with property owners that are affected. They had been being contacted. We did have a lapse in there in between of a couple of months while we were working some design things out, but we are back to, you will notice that if you're an active property owner where we are acquiring right away, you will be being reached out to. And the next question is, I do like the virtual meetings as I can attend more meetings than in person. This is one of the pluses that we did realize that we did receive from COVID, is realizing that as we had these virtual meetings, and like all organizations, as we got bigger and we got more technology, we can reach out to a bigger public. I understand that there are some people that still are old-fashioned. I am that way myself. I do like a good in-person meeting as well, but the virtual meetings do allow us to attend more people, and thank you for realizing that. I would like to think that McNair Elementary could hold an in-person meeting. When we do have an in-person meeting, if there is a need for that, what we will do is more than likely we go through our public affairs and we find a location where, according to the number of people that are invited, people would attend where we do it. That probably would be a good location. More than likely, there'd be several locations that are vetted in the process before where we decide to have a meeting. But thank you for the heads up. Are there plans to take Hickory Creek to I-35 West? Our master plan dream, not really a dream, our master plan mobility plan does eventually show the Hickory Creek corridor going all the way from 35 West to 35 East to 35 West. It breaks down into a series of 5 phases to do that. This is 3. Phase 1 has already been completed. Phase 2 is under construction now and should be finished in January of this year. December of this year. 1st of January of 2022 would be the finished Hickory 2 River Pass. And then this project picks up in Q2. And it is our future plans to take that Hickory Creek will be one of our main east-west corridors between the 35 East and 35 West. Okay, the angle where Hickory Creek Road meets Country Club Road is a bad angle. The light must go in when the road is finished, or there will be accidents. Can we get a right there right away? John, with that problem is until TxDOT corridor, it's a safer crossing than the one that's currently there, by far. This drawing right here that we're on now doesn't show it quite justice. This is about 4 times the size to 5 of the current crossing that you have, with a turn lane added to go out and crossing. It also takes in effect that where the current road ties in now is at a blind skew. This one on the bigger straightaway, you do have the curve right here, but the light won't be done with this project. It has to be done when the other extension deals, because currently the TxDOT having this road renovated and not having this other phase, the 4-way light would not work at this time.
And Dusty, what I can note is we do have a new TxDOT area engineer. His name is Travis Campbell. He's been on the job for about a month. I actually have a meeting with him next Thursday, and so we can bring up these concerns. We've started some of the preliminary concerns, as I mentioned earlier, with regard to the FM 1830 project and us wanting that project expedited. So I will bring that up with him when we meet with him next Thursday, and just kind of make sure this is on his radar. He knows for sure that we're moving forward with this project, and we can express the concerns regarding the safety of the intersection with TxDOT.
That takes us to our next question regarding McNair. Is there a stoplight planned at that intersection? So at McNair School, which is in phase 2, which is part of Hickory Creek the Hickory Road phase 2, when they finish in January, we're going to put a signal right there at Montecito to help increase safety crossing for the school. So there is a light going in right there. It's going in with phase 2. It will start, the light construction right there at Montecito will start in January of 2022. And the next question from Christopher Lotz is, what will happen to the current Hickory Creek Road that goes alongside the creek? That one, it will be a closed private roadway as discussed earlier. Because of the safety concerns with it, it will be gated at both ends, property owner, access only. And then our next one is, thank you for addressing the road. God bless every person that had an issue with death on this road. Hope we can get a stoplight at the intersection. Heard what you said about that, but highly recommend a stoplight and a stop instead of a stop sign. As Rachel stated, she does have a meeting with the new TxDOT area engineer next week, and we are a big promoter of the FM 30. With that being said, it is per TxDOT approval, so we will push this TxDOT as much as we can, Ms. Emily. And that takes us to the end of our questions. Let me see if I can. Tommy, can you hear me?
Yeah, you hear me, Dustin?
Yes, sir, I can. How's it going?
Okay, it's going good. We appreciate you having the meeting tonight. My question, of course, is about access to our properties on the west side of the railroad track. Those of us that have farmland down there, you have engineered it where we will be able to get to our property?
Yes, sir, we do have it engineered currently. That's where this right here comes into effect. We are in meetings right now with KCS Railroad. We're sure that that's where this section of the deal comes around. At the moment, I have a meeting with them in 2 weeks to discuss that crossing. We will allow access to the property. We'll never shut anybody out. Yes, sir.
I appreciate that. You're going to close it gated at 1830 and then also up at Hickory Creek Road there on the hill on the east side of the railroad track. Is that how you're going to close those gates?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And, on that note, the property owners will have will allow it more than likely be a combination code or a series of 2 locks, basically. One lock that's for the landowners deal and one lock for city or railroad access,
Yes.
That is that is the current plan, because we do understand there's people that need to get down there to access properties on the west side. Yes, sir. They will be gated on both sides. And like we said, we're only allowing property owners down in there due to the safety concerns.
And I haven't been able to look at your engineering plan very closely, but our private road, Settlers Creek Road, comes into Hickory Creek there. We'll need access both directions, because if I'm coming from the west with my farm equipment, I can't go a mile down the road to turn around to come back to get to my driveway. So we're going to need to look at that access there at Settlers Creek where I can come in and out both ways.
Okay, yes, sir. I will look at that. And actually, if you'll do me the world's biggest favor, if you'll contact the number me at 940-349-7104 that's on the first of this presentation, or my email at dustin.draper, I can come out and meet with you personally to address
Okay.
any concerns.
That'd be
you got
great.
that way.
That'd be great, Dustin. We'll take a look at it and see what I'm talking about there, because I currently still actively farming. We are, my neighbor and myself, on the west side of the railroad tracks. So we have farm equipment that comes and goes both directions, and we need access so we can turn in our driveways without, going too far down the road and having to come back around, because with the traffic that's on that roadway, it's pretty hazardous as it is now. So we'd like to make it easier to access back into our driveways.
Yes, sir. And this print that we looked at in the deal, it's a schematic overlay of what it looks like. We do have more detailed plans. And when I meet with you, I can share that with you as well.
Okay, Dustin, I appreciate it. And I'll give you a call and we'll meet up, and look at it.
Yes, sir. I look forward to it. And then the only last hand I have raised is Miss Lisa. Do you still have your hand up, or is your question?
No, I think mine was just the written one, but I'm here with my parents on the opposite side of Hickory Creek. And
Yes, ma'am.
I think I can get with us too about the detailed plans. I only see 2 access points for their property on the south side of Hickory Creek Road, one at their current driveway and one maybe down to the right. Have y'all taken away all access?
No, ma'am. Again, this is the schematic view of it, so it's not a very detailed view. But if you'll reach out to me, I will get in contact with you. I'll come out and meet you and show you exactly what we have.
Yeah, because I can't tell from here, but I'd appreciate that too.
Yes, ma'am. And we'll help out, like I said, any way we can.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. If that's the end of it, I don't see any other questions in the chat or anything raised. Is there anything you'd like to add, Rachel, that we might have missed, or anything you'd like to say, or David, either one?
No, I appreciate this. Great job, Dusty, and really appreciate everyone's questions and engagement tonight. We will be hosting additional future meetings, and then Dusty's provided his contact information. So definitely encourage everyone, if you have specific questions regarding your property, Dusty is super responsive and is out in the field a lot. So please take advantage of reaching out to him. I'm also available. I don't have my email on a slide, but it's rachel.wood@cityofdenton.com, and I'm happy to respond to your questions as well. We'll provide some updates once we have an opportunity to talk to Travis Campbell with TxDOT on those specific questions we had regarding signalization at FM 1830. So once we have some good updates to provide, we can put that on the project page online that Dusty and Stephanie Yates, who's also on this call, help update regularly.
And as Rachel said, we always ask that, always feel free to reach out to the project manager on whatever project. When you go to the websites for the projects, usually the project manager's there. You always feel free to reach out to them, post on the deal. Please sign up for the email alerts. And we promote everything from calling us directly to using Engage Denton to using the website. But we always suggest that you go to the website first for information, because every information you might be looking for is on there. If you're having trouble with finding the website or any information in, always feel free to reach out to one of us. We'll be more than happy to assist in either way. And again, we'd like to thank everybody for attending this Hickory Creek 3 virtual meeting. Again, I'd like to just one last time bring up the stay informed at the Hickory Creek Road Phase 3 project. My name again is Dustin Draper, and my email is listed on here along with the deal. This will be posted on the website. Please feel free to email me or call me with any questions you have. I always like to check the online access to the project website. That is www.cityofdenton.com/Hickory Creek Road Phase 3. And Hickory Creek Road is all phases, all phrased as spelled out, and the number 3. Same, it's the same as for the email alerts, to sign up for the email alerts. And if that's all we have, then I'd like to end this on a light note. Please, again, thank you for being here. And the city takes any questions, comments very seriously. Please always feel free to reach out to us, and we'll respond as quickly as possible. Thank y'all, and everybody have a good night.